welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today, I'm just gonna be doing a full face of first impressions here. I had a few things that I've picked up recently that didn't really seem like they kind of would just fit into one dedicated video. I have the Valentino concealer here that's new. I have the Guerlain highlighter, which I believe hasn't released in the US yet, only in France. So I'm gonna be testing that out and just some other things that I've never tried and I picked up and I wanted to give it a shot. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's just get started playing with some makeup. The first thing I have here is the Valentino Primer. This is just a deluxe sample, but I've heard really great things about it, and I got the sample when I picked up the concealer. I actually also picked up the foundation. However, I opened that up and it was clearly just not my shade. So right now it's in the process of being returned to Valentino, so that way I can exchange it for the right shade. And I'm just gonna apply this to my skin, just see how it is. Like I mentioned, this is a first impressions video, and I do always come back and just give more updated thoughts on any products that I do first impressions on. So keep an eye out for that. That will be coming. And now that I have this primer on, this is not a new product, but I wanted to try it anyways. I saw Angelica Nyquist, I think that's how you say her last name, test this out. And you know, I don't think I ever used this foundation back in its heyday. So I wanted to give it a shot. I recently tested out, this video hasn't gone up yet, but I recently have been trying and testing the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint. So when I picked that up, I picked this up because I plan on doing an overview on all the Maybelline foundations, and I was only missing one or two, I think, from their line, at least most of their line. So here's what it looks like. I picked up the shade 10 Ivory, and it still looks pretty dark in here. So I'm gonna just see, it was one of the lightest shades. And she went in with a sponge and just lightly applied it. So that's what I'm gonna do. This just makes me a little bit nervous because of the reputation that this foundation has. And I'm just hoping it's not too orange and dark on me. Okay, maybe I'm going in too lightly. Seems okay. You do need to be careful because I just went in with my sponge and just caked it on there. Mousse would be a very appropriate term. All right, maybe that's better. Maybe just dot it. It does look dark, doesn't it? For 10 Ivory. Normally in Maybelline foundations, I wear the shade 120 Classic Ivory. So when I was looking at shades and swatches for this foundation, this seemed like the best one. But this is not an easy foundation to get your hands on. It blends out a lot better, so I'm not as nervous now. This is looking pretty light coverage. Surprisingly, I kind of was expecting this to be more of a medium coverage. And maybe it's because I used my sponge. It's not giving an overly matte finish. This doesn't look terrible. I'm not fully hating this. The real question is going to be how it wears down, which I won't know by the end of this video. But if I can remember, I will leave a pinned comment down below. Let's go on to concealer because this is actually probably what I'm most excited about. I picked up the shade Light Rosa 2. The Valentino website, because I did purchase this straight from the Valentino website, the swatches aren't great. So here is what the doe foot looks like, and kind of looks like a little shoe. The swatches just were not good. I mean, that's why I didn't get the best shade in the foundation, and I knew just opening the packaging that it was not the right shade. And this doe foot doesn't release too much product, which I don't mind. I don't want to have like too much product right away. I'd rather build this up. But I think when I was reading this, it said that the doe foot was specifically designed to put the perfect amount of concealer under the eyes. And I don't know if I would agree 100% with that. I think that it could be a little bit better. I kind of like the doe foots that have like the divot in the middle. I find that those dispense a really nice amount of product. This is pretty light coverage. I'm gonna go in with a little bit more. I was kind of expecting this to be more medium coverage. I'm just gonna highlight just a little bit as well. And see. This is the first Valentino product that I've tried, so, well, other than the primer. And I don't know, I kind of get the feeling that Valentino is overhyped. They are owned by L'Oreal, so it's one of those things where, is it actually really luxury, or are you just paying more for the name? Which I guess you can say about a lot. Most luxury brands are owned by smaller companies, and you pay for the packaging, you pay for the name, but the packaging even isn't great compared to some other just luxury products that I have. The Givenchy concealer, I'm always comparing everything to that because I love it, but that packaging is really nice. I do thoroughly enjoy that packaging. Now that I've put on a second layer of this concealer, I really like it. It looks really nice. It looks lightweight. I don't suffer too much from under eye, you know, wrinkles or anything like that, mostly just darkness, but it did smooth out my under eye. It covered my darkness, not all the way, but a good amount considering the foundation coverage that I have. Right now, the concealer is definitely my favorite. I'm just gonna go in with nothing new, just my By Terry powder and set the concealer. But I do have a cream to powder blush that I want to try, so I'm not going to set my face yet. Just going to go over a little bit and kind of right here and on my chin where I also put the concealer. For blush, I picked up the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blush. I've been wanting this since it released. I haven't tried anything from Danessa Myricks either. I picked up the shade Jubilee. And, you know, I've been trying to be better about my purchases, but I've been wanting this, and then I had a weak moment, so I picked it up. I know this is nothing new now, old for internet age, but I wanted to give it a shot. And I don't know how you open this. Oh, it's a twist. So I'm gonna apply this first before I go in with bronzer. And I think I'm gonna try it with a brush first, and then I'll go in with a sponge. I would prefer to use a sponge, but first I just wanna see how it looks with a brush. So I'm gonna pick up like a good amount here and be very careful. And that's a lot. I'm gonna go in with my sponge. I can't do it. I just feel more confident with a sponge. I feel like I have more control with the sponge, so sponge it is. And that looks way better. That looks nice. So I'm gonna take what's left on this brush and make it look scary, go in and diffuse it. I haven't picked up any more product on this brush. It's just kind of what's left over after spreading it out, and now I'm just kind of making it a little bit more vibrant. This color is really nice. I wanted to get the Rose and Brunch, I think it's called, the most neutral, and then I told myself to step out of the box and kind of get this like terracotta color, and I'm not mad at it. I've been hearing really good things about this, so that's why I also decided to pick it up. It wasn't just curiosity, but I've been hearing that it's a good product, so I wanted to try it out. I've been really interested in Danessa Myricks. I know that the Yummy Skin Foundation hasn't gotten great reviews, but that doesn't mean I don't want to test it. This is super cute though. I do like the packaging now that I know that it twists. Now, before I go in with bronzer, I do just kind of want to set my face. I'm just using my Kosas bronzer from Shop My Stash. I can link that playlist up above if you like Shop My Stash videos. Honestly, this Kosas bronzer, this Kosas powder, sorry, I just have like a bone to pick with Kosas, I think. Part of me, I think I'm gonna just declutter this powder. It's not bad. it's just a pain in the ass. And I find that it doesn't work with every single foundation. It really just depends on the type of foundation I'm using, whether I like the powder or not. And just the fact that I didn't have really a great experience with Kosas customer service, it's not making me want to keep this powder. I might declutter it at the end of the month when I kind of go through and then pick out new products for Shop My Stash. But here's the thing, like now this powder with this foundation looks really, really nice. So I'm just torn because sometimes it looks so good and sometimes it just doesn't. And it just hits hard pan so fast. This powder is very, very confusing to me. But on to bronzer. I have the L'Oreal Infallible bronzer in the shade Light. This is also not new, but I haven't tried it yet, and this has also gotten just really great hype. It's newer, so I decided to count it. I'm gonna just go in with my bronzer brush. Try not to disrupt the blush too much. Kind of want this to be more of a blushy look anyways. Up on my forehead. I am feeling very self-conscious about this bun, by the way, just while I'm doing my forehead. I don't know how people can do like a messy bun, but have it be intentional. It's like this foreign concept to me. I tried my best today, but it feels like this bun is hanging on by a thread. And to me, that like defeats the purpose of having your hair up. Like if I have my hair up, I want it to feel secure. Just going into this whole rant of a topic, but I don't know. I can never get the bun to like look intentionally messy. So I'm deciding whether I even like this. I might even just scrap this video when editing if I just hate the bun that much. That's how much I like don't know about this bun situation. This bronzer going back might be too light for me, but I was worried about going too dark on the bronzer. I guess I could build it up, but for today it's fine because like I said, I kind of want to let the blush shine. And it always looks just way more stark in the viewfinder whenever I'm looking. In person, it looks fine. Like the blush looks way more prominent than the bronzer, but then when I look in the viewfinder, it looks very dark. I think it's just because I have like a natural hollowness in my cheekbones. So the shadow makes the bronzer look darker, at least on the viewfinder. I don't know. I swear I'm not that bad at doing bronzer. Sometimes I watch my videos and I'm like, you need to maybe rethink your skill set here. I have to say right now, I'm just looking very matte, combination of like the matte bronzer, the matte blush, the matte foundation. So let's go in with this highlight here. This is the Guerlain Terracotta Luminizer, and I picked up the shade Cool Ivory. This comes in 2 shades, and like I said, this has not launched in the US yet. Guerlain tends to launch their products in France, which is where I live if you're new here. I decided to pick it up just because I like Guerlain products. Here's what it looks like. I did go into Sephora, and I should have taken a swatch. I really regret it. But the other shade is like gold. It's some kind of gold name. And it was really, really gold. So this comes in 2 shades. And I think that if you're interested in this highlight, if you're a light complexion, like the gold is very opaque is what I'm trying to say. Here's what Cool Ivory looks like. And then here's just a quick swatch on my finger. So you can see it leans still like a gold, but a cool gold. I'm just letting you know because I was deciding between shades and I picked up the Cool Ivory, and then I went into Sephora and saw the gold, and it was just so opaque that it's definitely meant more for deeper complexions, which is great. I wish that they just kind of came out with more of a shade range. I should have just taken a swatch on the back of my hand though, so I could insert it in here. I just wasn't thinking at the time. I don't think that this is going to be a very bright highlight. Highlight's not really doing what it did in 2016. But that's because we were wearing foundations like this, so you kind of needed the highlight to bring it all back. This is pretty. This is fairly subtle. I wasn't expecting it to be too blinding. It doesn't have a scent. I think that Guerlain's kind of phasing out the strong scents in their products, because I noticed with their foundation, it wasn't as heavily scented either. So just so you know, if you've been avoiding Guerlain because of the scent, but it looks really nice. I'm happy with this shade. Do you need a $50 highlighter? Probably not. You probably have enough highlighters, but if you're interested in this one, I think it's actually pretty nice. So far, the two products that I was most interested in, the concealer and the highlight, are the winners. Yep, I'm liking my base so far. Now I'm almost finished. I'm just gonna quickly do some eyeshadow and I'll be letting you go. I picked up the Supreme Nudes from Artist Couture. This was really had a lot of talk back in the days. I know his other palettes haven't really been getting as much talk as the Supreme Nudes, and nudes are more up my alley anyways. I really like the tones in here, especially like this green color. It has like a nice mix of lighter, just browns and some darker browns, and it's still pretty neutral. It's not leaning too warm, which is what I look for in a neutral palette. I don't want a palette that leans really warm and orangey. So let's just give this a shot. I'm not gonna zoom you in. I'm gonna do a really quick eye look. I'm first gonna start with silhouette in the crease here. And, you know, I don't even know if I want to do a shimmer on the lid today, which doesn't always happen. I'm just gonna put this in the crease. Just give myself, because of my hooded eyes, like give myself a guide on how high I can go up. So I need to make sure my eyes are open and I'm looking straight ahead for that. If not, I tend to undershoot it. But now I'm just gonna blend that out. This definitely is darker than it looks in the pan, which is not bad, but I'm gonna take like a clean brush and just diffuse it a little bit. And then I'm gonna continue to take silhouette and just kind of deepen up the outer corner here. Bring it on the outer half of my eye. Make this super quick. At least blends out really easily. Like it lays down a lot of pigment, but it diffuses really nicely. And then now I think I'm just gonna take a flat shader brush and go in with Exposed. Let's just see what that looks like. That's the lightest shade in here. And I'm just gonna put that on the lid and kind of carve out my lid just a little bit. Not all the way, but meeting with that silhouette shade in the outer corner, and just brighten up that lid. Back in with silhouette, and I'm just gonna kind of mix the two together, just so it's a little bit more seamless. Quite liking that. Taking silhouette on a smaller brush, I'm just gonna go in under the lash line. Get a little bit more smoky. I'm going back in with Exposed and just running that underneath to, again, just diffuse that silhouette shade. I want this to be really soft. And then last step, I'm gonna take Mink and just run it over my lash line up top for a little bit of like a shadow liner situation. And that's it. So I quite like this. I don't do matte eyeshadow, like an all matte look, almost ever, but I really like how this looks. I'm gonna do my brows and lashes off of camera, and then I'll be back to just kind of give my overall thoughts, first impressions on all of these products. And here is the completed look. I quite like everything. I think I'm pretty impressed with all the products that I tried. Let's just go in order. So for the primer, You know, I'm going to be honest, even if this was the world's greatest primer, I don't think that I would purchase it, at least until I get through some more primers in my collection. I'm just not a big primer person. I prefer a pore blurring primer. So this has like maybe 1 or 2 more uses in it. I'll give it a shot and see, but I'm not noticing it did anything revolutionary for my foundation. And then for the foundation, this is something that I'm just gonna have to test more. Foundation especially, like first impressions don't really do a lot, but for first impressions, I'm not hating it. The shade was looking a little scary in the beginning, but I think that it looks better now that I've blended it out and everything. It is looking matte. I'm looking very matte today, especially with all my eyeshadow, just a matte look. I'm not hating it, but I do wish that maybe it gave more of a natural finish rather than a matte finish. This does advertise as a matte finish though, so I can't blame the foundation for that. That's just more of a preference thing. I will be testing this out more and doing a dedicated video on all my Maybelline foundations, like I've already said. The concealer I actually really do like. This is similar if you're looking for that Givenchy concealer that I've been raving about. This gives a similar effect. I would say that it's just a little bit less hydrating. The Givenchy really makes it look like you have hydrated under eyes. One of the things that I just absolutely love about it. This less so, but the coverage is about the same. The smoothness is about the same. So if you're debating between the two, I still recommend the Givenchy, but if you're just more of a Valentino person, then you might like this concealer. I do believe also that the Givenchy just has more product in it and it's similar price point. So take that into consideration. I don't think this is a bad concealer though. I'm happy that I tried it and I hear great things about the foundation. I'm really looking forward to testing that out once I can get my correct shade. Next up is bronzer, blush, and highlight. This bronzer is nice. I think it's a little bit light for me. I wish I had gone a shade up. I think that they have light medium. Light's okay. It's just going to be more of a buildable bronzer for me. And in the summertime, I just might not be able to use it. Very, very happy I picked this up. I'd been eyeing this for quite some time, so I'm really glad that I just bit the bullet, finally went in. It is very pigmented. I only dipped my brush in here once, and that was more than enough for both cheeks. I think that the blush is really making itself seen, so I'm happy with the shade that I picked. I want to say that I'm going to pick up other shades, but I don't know. I'm really trying to just pull back on purchases. I would pick up more shades if I just had an unlimited budget. Let me just put it that way. And then the highlight is nice. I'm trying to think of maybe like a good dupe for this because I don't think that it's worth $52, whatever this comes out to. I think it was 52 euros, close to the same amount as the foundation. So when you put it in comparison to that, the foundation just seems more at least worth your money than a $50 highlight. It is nice though. I have to say that it looks really nice and natural on the skin. It gives a very just nice glow. I'm happy with the shade. The gold, just to reiterate, is very, very gold. If you're deciding between the two shades, keep that in mind. I would really recommend looking at swatches if you're debating between either one. I'm happy that I have this. I don't regret it. I think that it gave a nice glow to my skin for this just very overall matte look. And I'm happy that I have it. I just think for the price, it's not really worth it. And then the last thing I have is this eyeshadow palette, and I'm really liking this. I almost never do a matte look, like a full matte eye look, and I'm very happy with this. I'm excited to play with just the other shades. I only use 3 shades in this palette out of the 12, so I can't speak too much on just the rest of the formula, especially the shimmer formula. I'm gonna keep playing around with this. I'll be putting it in a ranking. Here's kind of the shimmers here, like this green. This green just looks like I need to put it on my eyeballs soon. So I will be testing out all these products more, giving an update on them, but you'll have to let me know down below in the comments. Have you picked any of these up? What your thoughts on them are? Is there anything that you've been trying to withhold buying, even though you really want it, like the blush for myself? I'd love to hear all your thoughts and opinions down below, but this is where I'm going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, everyone.